Well, it is 5 p.m. I will open up our our select board workshop for this evening to cover a couple of the warrant articles and finalize some budget numbers. Very quick.
I hear Matt.
Sorry?
I hear Matt.
Can
Shuffling
wait for Matt
paperwork.
then.
Yep, here it comes.
Nice.
Just in time.
Evening.
We just opened the meeting,
Great.
so you're right on time.
Did I miss this pledge of allegiance?
Do we just want to start right at the top here?
Sure.
Has everybody had an opportunity to review the default budget and the default warrant? Thank you for putting that together, that was helpful, Ellen. So the first part is to discuss, I know this is after a budget committee meeting last Tuesday.
Correct.
Reducing the amount of the warrant article, putting it back into the operating budget, which I know we had originally discussed that and then moved it to a warrant article. That way there's no risk of it failing due to the no means no provision, or eliminate it altogether and fund it through the rec revolving fund if we are successful in finding candidates willing to take on the positions. So why don't we start with that one? Yeah, it's just this is a quick workshop, Steve, just going through a couple of items here. So
So I think maybe we should kind of talk about 2 first a little bit. Just because that is the reason for number 1, I think. So if we,
different sources, right?
right, so 2 was initially gonna be,
Just to be clear, 2 was voting
Okay, sure.
to fund the $50,000 police department conceptual design engineering from unassigned fund balance. And this was after your meeting last Tuesday with the facilities committee to come up with the dollar amount of what we think
right,
it
so
would be.
originally we had kind of in there as a placeholder 40,000 based on the previous warrant article. And if, so we kind of held that 40,000 placeholder as a warrant article. After talking with
John Ritchie.
John Ritchie, thank you.
Yeah.
He suggested that we attempt to fund $50,000 based on like 20,000 architect, 10,000, I'm just going straight out of my head now.
Plumbing and HVAC,
Yeah, at 10,000.
10,000 for civil engineering, and then 10,000 for incidentals.
Right, so the 50,000, obviously 40,000 wouldn't cover that. And we discussed using the surplus to fund the warrant article as opposed to asking for new funding.
Mhm.
And because of that, that kind of opened up space to put this back in. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter too much, but
It
sort of-
reduced, I think what had happened, it made it
It
attractive to
reduced
the budget committees, it reduced the tax
Right.
impact to like 2.6%.
Yeah, it went from 3.98 to 2.65% by doing that.
So I think that's what was attractive to them more than, because if we move it into the budget or we have a separate warrant,
It
it's
still
the
has
same.
to come
Yeah.
in there, but I guess I don't know.
I think initially, so that took place on Thursday, the budget committee had met on,
So the budget committee met Thursday, that, is
budget committee met Thursday, we did the facilities committee just
Okay,
before that.
Sorry.
that also Thursday? Yeah,
Yeah, it was,
okay, jeez, I don't
I
know.
think so. Once
Days are all
they-
running into each
I don't know,
other.
yeah, they are running together now. So the biggest thing was, the first thing that they wanted to look at was, there were several committee members that felt that the 26,208 for the town beach gate attendance, which is multiple.
It's also to
Okay.
build the
Multiple
building too, right?
No,
No, it's just for
That
the,
was
just for
to-
staffing.
Yeah.
They thought that that number was too high to begin with, so.
you have to build the
but
building
issue-
too.
But the issue with that being, they don't have any control over the warrant article. They can either recommend or not recommend. They can't go in there and say, okay, we're gonna recommend X amount of dollars. So,
Right. They can't increase or decrease, they can only.
so the
approve.
recommendation was for you to either consider reducing the amount from the 26,208, because they didn't think that that would be very well supported, thus putting us at risk for failure and then having no money to work with to fund any type of a beach attendant down there. So the bargain being to put it back in the operating budget, assuming that that 50,000 is to come from unassigned fund balance, and we have a little bit of money to work with there, or a little bit of room to work there with the tax cap. Or what they preferred was to fund it out of recreation revolving funds so that there would be no impact whatsoever.
And can rec revolving support that? I thought it was kind of taxed, or it was gonna be,
I mean, they do have a plan for a gross portion of the reserve funds that are in
Yep.
there. Obviously purchasing the new van and funding the grant that they're applying for, there's a
There's a
cash
couple
match there.
grants that we have coming up that need cash matches.
Correct. So a lot of that money is somewhat earmarked. And then the other argument is that the rec revolving funds are reserved for the programs in which create that
Revenue.
fund.
There's no revenue.
And to make
from
sure
the
that
beach.
there's sustainability there. And then the other thing that was discussed during the budget committee meeting is this could be kind of like an exploratory to see if we can actually get people to fill the positions, how much that might cost, but then we have the potential beach closure coming up in either 27 or 28 when they do the dam repairs, and we technically won't have a beach. Well, actually, we'll have an extended beach, but no real water.
Right.
Yeah, there
You know,
there
there's a
won't be
beach
any
if
water.
A close-up view of the milfoil, that's
Sand
what we'll
flat.
call it.
It'll just be mud.
So I don't think it would be sustainable to continue to fund out of rec revolving, but just for intensive purposes of trying to not meet the tax cap, keep it well below there if we can.
yes. I mean, the
26,208.
26,208 was that was like 7 days a week, very extended hours, correct?
Mhm.
4 people, like it was like a
There was going to be
big,
overlap. There
yeah.
would
it
be
was
somebody
gonna
at the
like a
beach
big-
as well as at the gate.
It was for
Actually, I
somebody at
think-
the beach?
No, I don't think it was, I think
thought
that
it
was
was
just 4 people at the
But there was some
gatekeepers.
some
There was some
overlap.
overlap.
When the overlap happens, I think it was like somebody would rove down instead of 2 people sitting in one spot looking at cars. It's like a chance to go down and,
Right, but there
Whatever.
wasn't much of an overlap.
No.
No. No, it
but
was-
I feel like that was a very like big, like if we just cut the number back and we had some other means for the second half, if we just cut the warrant back to 15 or something like that, like have a number for 2 people or something for a shorter period of time, I'm not sure.
But the issue being that if the warrant isn't successful in passing, technically that's saying, I mean, unless we word it extremely carefully, that no means no provision could take place, and then
Correct.
we can't find the money from other sources to fund a beach attendant.
I mean, I would be fine moving it back into the budget, but I would make the line item less.
Maybe 18,000. I mean, we did the math. I mean, the thing
It's
is,
the math, yeah.
but I think we did the math based upon it being open from 9 o'clock until 7 o'clock.
9 to
And-
7.
And I don't,
7
I'm not
days.
sure if that's absolutely necessary given the
I-
traffic pattern and.
Right, I mean, well, I mean, I think the hours are good. I just think that it's gonna be difficult to have attendees there. you
We'd
know?
have to have 2,
Right.
like somebody 9
yeah,
to 1, and somebody 1 to 6 or
Right,
whatever.
and then that was the overlap piece. But I think that we're probably gonna have difficulty staffing it.
Yeah, I mean, if we went through the whole thing of even raising that much money and then we never staffed people, we were just like sitting with this pocket of money for whatever, like, I mean, one, it gives us no flexibility, but you know, who even knows what potentially could happen? I mean, the 50,000, I think definitely to come on a unassigned fund for the police part, and I think if we look back at number one, I think we could roll that back in and then just, if we make it a hard, this is what we're gonna do, and if it goes yes or votes no, that's just, completely limits us one way to begin with, and we don't even have options to discuss. And typically throughout the year, we might be able to find, if we post 4 jobs and we end up finding all these people, maybe there's something else in rec that they don't, whatever, and they can help, or there's something else in another department, and we might be able to move the small little amount, 10,000 or whatever, cause maybe we have 2 people to start, and then when the summer's busy, we end up picking up more people. So we, again, like we just said, from X to Y, Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Right.
But that's not
Right.
realistic if we're looking at like kids that are college age or high school age that are like working, that's not gonna happen. Their window's gonna be June,
Shorter.
July, August, so I think reducing the figure, putting it in, give us the options to be flexible so that it's not, we need to hire 4 people, we need to do this, I think is a,
Staffing full-time from Memorial Day to end of June is not.
No, it's not realistic.
Well, even if you
It's-
did, I mean, if you go off of their calculation for the $18 an hour that they're proposing, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, times 14 weeks, that's 980 hours, so that's 17,640. That's somebody covering the entire open to close.
one human being.
One,
Or multiple human beings
But
taking
yeah,
it.
still,
Yeah,
I
was
that's the
just
total
hours.
amount of hours that you need to
Gotcha.
cover.
so how do we come up to 20?
It was,
whatever?
I think they did include overlap.
Did,
It seems like a lot
or
of
was Tim,
overlap.
or were we originally going back to the original thing that there should be a 8x8 or 10x10 building or something?
I thought we were including the cost of building something.
So their recommendation from Courtney's notes said 4 seasonal part-time up to 26 hours, age 18 plus, $18 an hour for 14 weeks, gate attendants stationed at the entrance gate. This past year, we only had 1 employee down there 4 days a week. These employees would cover opening and closing the gate, collect data all summer long, monitor the gate as well as the town beach. If the Board of Selectmen in town want to keep the hours of the operation hours of operation the same, it would be beneficial to have 2 employees down there if feasible, or at least have shifts lapping for safety and security reasons.
So she might have had a number in her head, like 4 people, but you know, everybody's working X number of days, so let's cut the number back.
Yeah, I think based on the raw math that,
Her raw math at 17 is still
Right.
aggressive, but that's,
That's
That's-
somebody for every hour, but
That's-
that's not
that's
even
somebody-
assuming that we're
one
gonna have
employee
closures
the
due to
whole time.
weather.
right.
I mean, if it's
So-
raining out, the beach doesn't open.
so 15 is probably more than sufficient.
Yeah. And again, that was no,
That was one person,
that was
Full-time,
hours covered for the full
hours
thing.
covered.
I think we could easily
Full-time.
cut it back, put it into the budget, and then we'll see what it is. I mean, if you have a monsoon at the beginning or something like that, like we had a really rainy spring not too long ago, then it's not a high popular area when it's 60 degrees and rainy out.
Yeah, it does include a gate shelter. The gate shelter was a question mark. It's at the very bottom of the,
Okay, so it's not in the description. That's all.
well, it is.
It's in that description, it's not in the
No.
description.
That's what the original.
It's not in the warrant article, but anyway,
Other expenses, gate shelter question,
Regardless.
but
because you do need to build a structure down there, because if you have somebody down, number one, the bugs alone. And then if
Yeah.
it starts raining, you get a thunderstorm or something, you gotta have something to protect the person that's there. But anyway. So do we wanna say $19,000? To give some cushion so that you can build a structure down there, or do you wanna pull that from someplace else from the?
You're gonna leave it in the budget, you're gonna pull out a rec revolving.
Well, it would be a separate line item, probably. Because it's not,
Well, it is,
obviously.
she created a separate line item in the budget for.
it doesn't sound like we really can or should from the description of rec revolving, right? So
I don't think it makes sense to
No.
pull it from rec revolving based
It's
upon.
not what it's the purpose of
No.
rec revolving.
Right, it's not the purpose of
If-
rec revolving.
Although,
unless in their summer camp, they included going down there now.
Which right now they have
They're
no.
not doing it.
I mean,
Correct.
maybe in 4 years when the beach reopens or something, but I don't see I mean, I could be wrong, I haven't talked to the rec department, but I don't see them all of a sudden this year is trying to put
They're not
together.
gonna-
They gotta find a
can't get
lifeguard.
lifeguards.
Yeah, they're gonna have to,
That's, right, they can't get lifeguards.
And if they have two, I bet I'm saying like two names, but I think I'm good anywhere like 15 to 19. I think that 17 number was like, if we did everything, I think we would be scaled back from that even, but 19 adds
How
some.
much, so what do we need, like a shedish type thing, right?
Small shed.
yeah,
Small shed. I mean, what would that cost?
It depends. I
We might
mean,
even have extra material out back. We've got a bunch of miscellaneous lumber out there from different things.
and we could
Couple
add
sheets of
it,
plywood, couple 2x4s.
we've put together, like if Courtney puts that as part of like cleanup day, or like we do one of the things we've done, like
Mhm.
whatever, we might get enough community outreach, somebody might have something, the people that work, or there's somebody that works in the Fernald lumber area, the laydown area, right, they sell those, they say, we sell sheds, I'm sure we could get one of those sheds that's all locked up and has a window, like, I mean,
I would put a window on it.
no.
Smash.
You do
No,
need
we
a
need a
window.
window, you do need a window.
Well, I think
Well,
it could be like
no,
one of
not-
those
not a-
fold down
Not a
windows.
window,
It-
but a,
Yeah.
Potentially a gate at a structure at the gate.
Right, because there is a shed down there already.
At the beach,
At
that's
the
at the beach.
beach.
We're
Right,
talking,
You're absolutely right about the shed being there.
Yeah,
we're talking about the
about-
roadside shed.
Yeah.
for a human.
I agree.
So do we wanna move that $19,000, remove the warrant article, put it back into the budget?
do we need 19?
Consensus?
I guess is the question.
Do-
Do we need 19?
The difference
between
between 17,
between 15 and what does that put us at if we pull the 50 and put the
15 for salary?
I'd leave it at 19. 'Cause you
I'm
gotta
just
get
saying,
it
what
built.
is that? I'm more worried about the,
The tax cap?
yes.
So if we pull the 50,000 out, add $19,000 back in, we're at 2.41.
I'm okay with that number.
yeah,
I-
well, you're lowering it, anything we're doing is lowering it, cause
Right.
she
Yeah.
had pulled it from the $50,000 from the budget.
That's what I'm saying, I didn't wanna add it back in and get, and I think being less than 2.5 is like where it should hopefully be good, so 19 I'm fine with. Do we need a motion that, or do we need to just do it?
No.
Okay, we're just
All-
talking, right? It's not
No,
a,
I mean, you're gonna make your final recommendations at your next meeting on the 26th before it goes to deliberative, so.
This is for the public hearing on Thursday.
yeah, the 20th. Isn't that next week, the
No.
19th?
MLK Day, it's next
Oh.
Monday.
A lot of dates flying around in my head. Alright, so we're good with 1, 2,
2, we've already discussed.
I just
Are
wanna,
you
we
okay
all
with
comfortable
moving
with-
forward? That was what we had, obviously I had Charlotte and John as part of the Facilities Assessment Committee meeting. It was just something that I had suggested. It was what we presented to the
yeah,
Budget Committee after kind of consulting with you individually, so.
what is our unassigned fund balance percentage at?
We are at
11.71%,
I believe.
Okay,
So at the school budget meeting, unassigned fund balance, does that incorporate expenses at the school?
No, they have their own unassigned fund balance.
I thought this was the
I
whole
thought-
thing. No.
I'm sorry, our unassigned fund balance is all of the obligations, yes.
Yeah, they can have a
County
max
and
of
school.
200. We have the big unassigned,
Yes.
12% of total
Right.
obligations. Which is pretty big.
Right, but anything in excess of the 200, they have to either spend or give back to the taxpayer.
Yes. So 2 is done.
Moving along, great job.
Okay, determine whether to proceed forward.
Did you say that 50,000 for the fire station?
Police.
No, for the police department.
It would be an addition to the fire station, it's a
And this
conceptual.
isn't to fund it, Steve, this is just to put a quote out for an RFP to do a design for,
But this is gonna be a warrant article.
correct.
Thank you.
Determine whether to proceed forward with adding in $17,000 for new accounting system. Need to do some math here with what we just reduced.
Mhm.
The budget committee is looking to cut some of the social service agencies that have not provided statistical data specific for Nottingham and that could free up some additional monies.
Now, it's not gonna free up a ton because we're talking collectively,
$1,500.
yeah. I think their total request is like 24,375, thereabouts.
Were they asked to
Yes, they were,
provide it?
yes,
specific-
so back in the beginning of our budget review, I had reached out to pretty much everyone and said, if you have not provided statistical data of what type of support and how many families you provide for the town of Nottingham, could you please supply it? And I didn't get any response back from anybody,
Except for the ones that had supplied it
except for the ones that had already supplied it.
They previously did.
So the biggest ones that were discussed at last week's budget committee meeting include Lamprey River Healthcare, Haven, the Haven, Waypoint. I think that was it. I think it was those three.
But I think, I mean, that's up to the select board to decide how to,
Correct.
so I think we had talked about putting together a committee next year to sort of, because other towns have done
Right.
this and.
And we had expressed that to the
I
budget
think Charlotte
committee.
actually, Ms. Pike had brought it up to us in October about that process and developing a process.
Right, which is why I asked if it was,
Right.
it had gone out to specifically ask them for their statistics.
Right.
So my point being is that you can have 12 different organizations outlined in the spreadsheet. It doesn't mean the select board next year has to allocate the 24,500 to those specific 14 or 12. So you can decide.
And furthermore, if the budget committee recommendation, if they choose to recommend an amount that removes those, I mean, you're looking at the bottom line. So it's not like you can defund a specific line item. I think that's where things get a little bit too messy, is when they start looking at those individual line
I wouldn't even
items.
say line item, it's a sum.
Yeah, it's a
Sub-
sub,
sub.
yes,
Right,
it's a
yeah,
subtotal,
cause
yeah.
it's just a.
So I mean, I would say that the select board should continue to pursue a process to evaluate these social service organizations and put it out there much earlier in maybe June or July, saying this is our process, which sounds like other towns do that anyway, so they might be used to it. But then, you know, if you wanna keep I would say keep the dollar amount the same and decide how you wanna.
I think you'll find Lamprey Healthcare Services a lot of,
Right.
I hate to cut that one.
When do we actually fund them?
The checks are usually issued right around the time the revenue comes in from the first tax billing, so like summer,
Okay, so,
unless they request it sooner.
right, that does give us some time to.
Yeah, I mean, cause you wouldn't even do it until after the budget gets approved.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a minutia line item thing that we would deal with later.
So then the other question would be the $17,000 for the new accounting system, and I will mix this in with the voting machine, which is the next item, so that's 24,500.
I wrote this thing, what is it, 17,000,
Was that
the 17,000?
for new accounting software for the office?
didn't we have some grant funding for that?
No, we have, we were gonna, so the software support is very comparable to what we're paying for annual software.
No, sorry, on the voting machine thing.
Oh, for the voting machine. I don't know
Not for the second.
about the
Well-
second round.
Well, wait a second, so we,
Thought we added two last year.
So we, in 24, is it 24? Yes,
Let me
2024, we raised 7,500 with the hopes that we would get grant funding for half of it. So we raised the full 7,500. We did get 50%.
okay, so then we had half of that left over.
Correct.
And then that got returned
That gets
because,
returned to the,
okay,
because of the way it was worded.
Instead of voting machine,
we could have,
should have said,
that's,
As
because
many
we had
voting
talked, I
machines
thought we
used.
talked about buying the second one with that money. Because,
I don't think you can from not the money from the warrant article.
Can't because we didn't encumber the funds at the close
right,
of
we didn't
24.
cover the funds, yeah, so,
So even though the actual voting machine wasn't delivered or paid for until 2025, we had it contracted for purchase at the end of 2024. So if we had multiple, we probably could have slid it through, but.
Okay.
So I don't know, I think there was talk about potential future grant funding to at least cover, is it the full pads?
Now,
Full pads.
yeah, that may be in the future,
Yeah.
maybe not, but.
But I don't know that there's grant funding to purchase another one.
Right,
And then the
right,
other thing
no.
that got kicked around when they did, when Dawn, the moderator, did the elections budget was perhaps posing it to the school, since half of the election is theirs as well,
Right,
to maybe pick up the cost, but that never got communicated to them.
yeah, so it was just the other funding that cause I knew we got a grant and we had raised and appropriated the money.
Yeah.
So.
We raised and appropriated the full amount just in case the grant funding didn't come through.
Right.
So 3,500 was returned back to the unassigned fund balance,
In 24.
not 35, but 3,750.
Whatever,
Um,
thought the grant was more than half.
from in 24? Or are you saying this past year? We just bought them, so we just,
It would've been on 2024.
Warrant.
Reappropriated.
Okay,
But you probably funded out of the unreserved fund balance.
So that's the question, I mean, the only way that you can fund it out of unassigned fund balance is to have it be a separate warrant article.
right, and it would be helpful to have a second one. Recognize that,
I will say that the zoning amendments that were
but I did see how much
drafted
shorter
up
they-
and are going to
I
make
was like,
public hearing next week have
nice.
a very simple question, as they should, so that should shorten up the ballot by at least 6 pages.
I know this isn't our purview, but, so it says, you know, the warrant article reads as mandated by the state of New Hampshire.
What does that mean?
What if the taxpayers vote no?
If they vote no, then we still have to follow it by state law. So it's kind of,
It's a waste of time.
it is a waste of time, it's a waste, yes, complete. Which is why if we could do less is more in our zoning, you know, we'd be better off, because there's, you know, a lot of cases, some of the stuff's been duplicated straight out of the state things, and we've been trying to scale that back, because it's just crazy for these reasons.
Are you saying that the state is mandating the second voting machine?
No, we're talking about zoning
Sorry,
ordinances. That this-
We
Yeah.
completely changed subject on you, Steve. And Tim did apologize up front for that.
Yeah,
Okay, so what, you're gonna have a second voting machine?
no, we're still in the midst of discussing.
Yeah, with a little tangent in between.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sidebar.
Yeah, so we have an option to either fund it out of unreserved fund balance, ask for the 75,000 as a new warrant.
7,500.
7,500. Slipped a decimal.
Yeah. We're
Um,
buying a kiln?
yeah, yeah, 75, which isn't, you know, even if that comes out of unreserved as well, that's not very much.
We have 3 elections this year.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Well, I know.
Unfortunately, we won't get it for the March one that we really,
No.
you know,
But I don't
No.
think the March one is going to be the, again, it's not gonna be the headache that it was last year. Just looking at, you know, it's 7 pages so far, the warrant for the town, it was what, 15 or 18 last year? It was a packet.
It was a huge packet.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of paper going through that
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah, the two, the state and federal is nothing anyways. They're
Right.
usually very,
No, they're
Yeah,
usually
one page
pretty
back to
quick.
back.
So primaries,
So then do you want,
primaries bigger.
so if you're thinking, or if we're thinking, we won't have it in time for March anyway,
Correct.
maybe you focus on this for 2027.
But then they wouldn't have it from March of 2027.
Right.
Right, right.
But I'm saying we would miss 2 elections of having this
Right.
machine. I was just trying to see if there's,
And alternatively, I do have a support agreement with BMSI to continue the software, so I don't
I-
think that there's any plan to like pull the plug on it for next year. It's just a matter of like eventually we have to.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a smart thing to do.
I mean-
is get that.
even if, I mean,
Will it make your job easier and will it make?
It will
Betsy's
definitely
job-
make Betsy's job
Yeah.
easier. No, that's the biggest part of it is streamlining it, and then even just this budget process, I mean, like, we've created this manual Excel worksheet, which eventually gets input into the system, but that's what we're doing, we're pulling the data out of BMSI to update this, only to update that, to update into the system, so it's a lot of duplicate entry, a lot of room for error.
I was just gonna say, that's the bigger piece.
So it'd be much more important to have the software versus voting
I think
machine.
Betsy will disagree because she's used to it now and it's gonna be like learning and going through that whole transition. I did the change with the payroll processing, which has been a nightmare, but that was a necessary evil as well.
So we didn't decide what the second reading.
We haven't decided yet, Steve.
But are you mandated by the state to have one?
no,
No.
that was a different topic.
What?
That was a different topic.
Oh,
I mean, if we don't, and the software crashes or they stop, whatever,
Right,
we're just buying it in the middle of summer and just rearranging our budget to find 17 grand out of something if,
right, which is worse.
it is, but at the same point, it's like,
But if you can get it in March or April after the election and get
Yeah, it's
Betsy
gonna
up and
take,
running on it and make the budget season
it's
next
going
year
to take
easier.
months for them to roll the data
Yeah.
anyways. I don't even foresee with approval in March, I don't foresee us going live in a new system until at least next fall,
Right.
this
Yeah,
fall.
and- Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take time. And the current system, you said, was just the owner guy is like the only guy supporting the whole thing.
Correct.
So,
And he's since moved on to his cloud-based software,
and
which
if he
is-
drops dead,
Yeah,
well, that's just support if we have issues, though, right? Like, I mean, it works, but if we have an issue, do you talk to this guy regularly, like once a week? Or once a month?
I don't, Betsy has to deal with them.
No, but
Like, pretty much at like year-end close, you need them to go in and update the licensing software so you can actually access your data for future years.
I think that'd be more important than the extra voting machine personally.
yes, I agree 100%.
So then maybe, would it be a warrant article where you fund half of it from unassigned fund balance and the remainder?
Well, I mean,
Well, the
Or do you
two
put it in the
combined,
budget?
just
You think
put
you
it-
put it in the budget?
just put it in the budget, I think.
So my only concern is that the budget right now is over a 7% increase over last year, which I know would do, if you look at that's just one warrant article.
Mhm.
Is that you get up to 8%, 7.8%, 7.9, I don't know, and I know a third of that is just healthcare alone.
Right.
It accounts for that, but I just wanna, looking at the numbers, and it is a 4% increase over the default. So it's not like it's,
So if we were to, for discussion purposes, if we put the $19,000 for the town beach gate attendant and 17,000 in for the accounting software, that brings us to 2.98% increase overall.
I mean, we could probably
hold on.
cut down on the beach attendants.
But why? Because of the $17,000 for the software, even though we reduced the beach attendant.
We basically put in 36 back in from 50.
So we go from 2.65 to 2.98.
I mean, I'd still like to be lower if we were able to. Wait, you said 2 point?
2.98.
No, but what was the first number?
2.65.
I thought it was 2.4.
Yes, you were correct because it
2.4.
was 2.65 with the town beach gate attendant at the full amount. So reducing the town beach gate attendant down to the 19,000, it brings it to 2.41.
But then adding in 17.
Then we're adding in,
And then adding in 17.
For the
So it shouldn't bring
software.
it up to 2.9. Still a net of 12.
All I'm doing is just adding it to
Yeah.
the operating budget. 36.
What is, if we pay it out of unassigned, what does that reduce our unassigned balance? Fund to?
And we're only putting the 19,000 in, so we're at 2.41.
There's only reduce it to like 11 point whatever percent, because it's such a big unassigned fund balance.
Oh, what the impact is on.
I wouldn't mind like, paying for a few things out of the unassigned fund balance as long as we were increasing the unassigned fund balance to get to target.
I don't think we're gonna have much return to the fund balance this year, just because we had a lot of those line item shifts. We had to pay for the depreciated cruiser. We had the six-wheeler repair that was like $25,000. We had the Stratford Region Planning dues that we pulled. I mean, it wasn't,
And then we had a bunch of storms. It wasn't
yeah, it wasn't a,
December was ugly for,
There wasn't a
it
lot
was
left
already
over.
a very,
Right, there
thin
shouldn't,
budget to
you know,
begin with.
in theory, there shouldn't be.
correct. A good, but if there was a little, whatever, because we had been understaffed for the year.
no, we definitely
Absorbed
accounted,
it.
yeah.
well, we could still ask the school to purchase this other voting machine.
Well, I mean, we're in a tough situation because we have the budget hearing on Thursday, and it's the town and the school combined.
Yeah, but they must have a wiggle room of $7,500 in their
They
budget.
got huge amount of wiggle room,
Oh, yeah.
and they admitted that.
But I think it's too late for this budget season to have them have that unless it's at the end of the year, the school year, if they have leftover funds.
Right. So at the end of the school year, that would be
June 30th.
June, right?
Right.
You're telling me there's not a line item that has a bunch of money that says like equipment?
Oh, no, I'm sure there's a line item that they can use, you know?
Okay, sounds like a line.
Right, and I'm sure there will be
Sounds
money
like,
left in June. My imagination says there's $7,500 someplace in their budget that,
yeah. I think at least seeing if they can do anything with it is it, and then if they can't, we'll deal with it next year, but it seems to me that they should be able to find,
You might find 3/4 of the way through the year next year, you know, if you weren't fully staffed for the fire department, cause we have that, all those positions in there, is that you might have some money left, I mean, $7,500 left. You know, 3/4 of the way through the year, we can get it sooner than March.
yeah.
And in 2027, there's probably only one election.
right, it's only the March election.
I mean, same thing, like you said, we have the firefighter positions, which, and I don't know how much budget goes in April, or excuse me, March. Right,
But you start spending January 1.
Right,
Right,
we're already,
right.
we're
But we're
already
not
spending.
staffed.
But we don't
Right,
have
right,
those.
no.
Right, we're already spending on this year's budget. But,
But I'm just saying that line item, we might even be able to, by June timeframe, just absorb even
Right.
both items.
Mhm.
I don't even know if I wanna add either one. And we know that they're both there. We'll see how March goes, and we can be like, ooh, we definitely need another machine, or we could be like, you know what, that worked pretty smoothly. This new thing's fine, we're not even gonna talk about it, or it's like, let's talk about it. We are still only at 5 firefighters or 5 police officers or whatever, and there might be enough at the beginning of the year to, we can say we just rolling it over here and we just buy it later on.
I agree.
I say let's keep the number as low as we can going forward, and then if we can, those are relatively small that we can absorb.
It's $24,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather not add it in.
Okay.
And
$2,400.
$24,000 is the accounting software and the new another ballot machine, voting machine.
And if anything, we split the button voting machine or something, and we say, hey, school, do you have
Right.
whatever, and they,
Well, which is going with them?
Neither.
we're not going to, we'll just see if we need the second voting machine, and then at the current rate of our staffing, we might be able to just absorb it into our budget later in the year.
So nothing on the software. No.
Sane.
Okay.
so,
Yep.
yeah.
So as of right now,
All right. you don't
we're
wanna put the software
proposing
in.
a draft, an operating budget for $5,445,698, which is
Again,
$5,445,698,
445, 698,
which is a 7.67% increase.
86.
7.67. And then the draft warrant article total is 640,000.
Now there's the what?
Warrant articles were 640,000. So after revenues, the amount to be raised by taxation is $3,091,965, which is a 2.41% increase.
Right, and that's less than 2.5%, that's really.
Good job.
You kept it in, you kept the capital.
So that's what I will.
Sounds
I
good.
think that's-
Is there anything else that we need to?
So the other thing that I just put on here, obviously we'll need to finalize. I drafted the warrant articles, as we know, tomorrow, close of business is the deadline for any petition warrant articles to come in. I have not received any to date. I know the school did get one for a tax cap today. So obviously, your election of officers and your zoning amendments are the first part. Second part is your operating budget and everything beyond that. So warrant articles are in there to total up that 640,000 that I discussed, and then there are some non-monetary articles. We talked about amending the disabled and elderly exemption levels. I know they were just amended, but they obviously don't work with the new valuation, so I wanna take one more look at the numbers. The average increase for property values was about 73%, so I think that the exemption levels for the age categories needs to increase by at least that amount. But I wanna look a little bit further because some of the properties were skewed, and I don't know if it's a neighborhood issue. Sometimes like your lakefront properties may have adjusted at a different rate than other residential properties. So I wanna take one more look at that report before I really give you a solid recommendation, but
So this one goes away.
I don't know if this is coming in by petition warrant article. I haven't heard any chatter on it, but I definitely think that it is in the best interest of the town to support this article rather than have it come in by petition. Just so that we're supporting those people that normally qualify for this tax break because they're not receiving it now. The other one was to modify the police private detail fund. As it's worded right now, it requires legislative body vote, so.
Right, and I wanted to talk about that one a little bit.
Okay.
Just the wording seemed a little bit off on.
We can
me.
tweak it. I haven't run them by legal yet.
All right,
I guess some,
I need something to go forward with legal for so they can just to make sure.
What is it to be used for?
Yeah,
for the
that
police
was-
department? 'Cause it's not clear, it just.
Right, exactly, it was more, cause it says about the, basically it just says about the purposes that it was established
So when it was
under.
originally established, it had a purpose to be used for police related.
Right, details and stuff, or whatever,
Well, it was so specific and it's something
yeah,
that they
and I
don't,
think,
right.
They couldn't touch it.
and exactly, and I think that's the problem, I think we need to expand the usage.
Okay.
Right, I thought that's what we were
Cause
doing.
we,
And I mean, ages to expend is fine too, but I think the piece was that it could only be used for something specific, I thought.
exactly, that's my recollection as well, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, so that we should probably decide what we really need to expend it for.
Mhm.
I don't know if Fawn's provided more input for that,
Not recently.
yeah.
Obviously.
Are we still, is money still going into it at all, or is
It's
it?
capped off at 40,000. So I don't know what the current balance is. I think the last time I checked, it was around 32 or so. So it's only those excess funds over and above, the cost of the officer and the maintenance of the cruiser.
Yeah.
Because I mean, technically this was established years ago, but it wasn't until John Scruton came on board as the interim in 22 that he really found it and said, hey, like money should be going into this. So we really just started investing into a separate fund for this purpose.
Oh, so we had the fund, but money wasn't actually even going into it?
Correct, it was
Right.
just coming back.
I didn't
To the
realize it
general
wasn't
fund.
going into there.
The next was to modify the service-connected disability veterans tax credit under RSA 7235. It's present, prior to new legislation, it was capped at $4,000. They did increase it to $5,000, which I'm going to recommend that you also support by warrant article, because what that legislation also changed is previously a veteran could get their regular veterans tax credit or all veterans tax credit for $750 plus this. Now, if they get the service connected disability, it supersedes the $750. So they're already going to be receiving less credit as of April 1st of 26. So
I feel like the wording on it, this just says, do you wanna, but I would just say, shall the town, in
It's-
accordance with RSA to its,
from its current tax credit of $4,000 to $5,000. And this was actually just a recommended language through the DRA software, so we can,
no, I was just saying so they understand that, like, we're not just.
I think we can clarify it in the voter's guide and
Okay,
then how
good.
it's presented.
Sure, that'll work.
Article 26, which was a question of combining town clerk, tax collector, which is also hand in hand with maybe going with an appointed tax collector versus an elected one, which would enable you to put maybe a tax collector from another town in place if we don't have anybody run for office. Again, it's just for discussion purposes. This can be deleted. We know that Tracy Black, our current tax collector, is not running for re-election in March, so if somebody wants to put their name in the hat, that's wonderful.
And when does the window open for?
January 21st to January 30th is the filing period for candidates. And the town clerk's office will be open from 3 to 5 on the 30th to accept any candidates that want to step forward for that. So keep things so I guess I would like to preface to say that if nobody runs for tax collector, it would be the Board of Selectmen or the Select Board's duty to appoint somebody to fill that position until the next election anyway, so you'd be in an appointed situation.
I guess the challenge is that if this were to pass, your current town clerk,
Right,
would she have the ability, desire to take on?
right. And that's a question too. Her term is due in 2027. So any changes that would be voted on in March of '26 would not take effect until the following election. In speaking with her this morning, I did not get the warm and fuzzy feeling that she would also like to accept that duty into her. And not that I'm trying to push forward that way, I just wanted to present it as an option.
So it sounds like this might not be the year for this.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And then the other one that I had brought up to you, and this does technically have a monetary value, Chief Curry was looking to create an expendable trust fund. We have these cisterns in town for the new subdivisions that are going in, but we don't have a maintenance plan for them. If something fails, that's a significant expense right now with one of the newer subdivisions going in. A concrete cistern, I think, is $75,000 for just the cistern itself, never mind the excavating and removing and installation. So
And the landowner puts that in, or the builder
correct.
puts that in.
And then
They
it's
pay
the,
for it,
yes,
but beyond that,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
it's the town's responsibility. So kind of thinking big picture, and maybe this is something that we just need to address at the CIP level. I did put it on here just for conversation's sake at $1, because you can't create a capital reserve or expendable trust fund with no money adding into it, but
I
However
think
you wanna
establishing it
proceed
would
with
be
that.
great. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
I'm not sure. if
Just
the-
$1.
Right, well, my point is like, if you establish it with $1, in the next year, what's gonna happen to that account? You can't fund that account unless, so why not just establish it and fund it with more money next year?
Yeah.
Once you have a plan in place that you could outline, no?
Uh,
That's my question, is why you create it with $1?
Unless you want to put more money in it, which
But how
we're
could-
trying not to.
What? Oh, yes,
40,000.
not this year, right, but I guess unless you could put more money into it over the course of the next year until the next election, why would you establish it now with just $1? Cause that's not gonna really get you too far to replace a cistern.
No,
If we establish it, could they use that for impact fees? Could that?
impact fees has to be, there has to be a nexus between,
So one of the things the planning board could look at, for example, is allowing impact fees to be used for the construction of a new police department, as it was used for the construction of a new fire department.
that is true. Yes.
okay, so those
That's
last
a good
two I will remove.
So-
Yeah, are you guys, everybody on board with removing those last two warrant articles we just discussed?
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
And I think, again, I'm not against creating some sort of trust fund for the cistern replacement, I just think that funding it and outlining, using the CIP, which cisterns.
the only thing is, if somebody donated money into it for some reason or something, then
for the expendable trust fund?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I was proposing to establish as an expendable trust fund, because you can put private donations into that capital
Right.
reserve.
So that
fund
would be
if you
the
want.
the reason to move forward with $1.
Okay, it's just cause if people wanted to donate, they could.
Right.
All those people donating cistern repairs.
Yes.
Hey, you never know.
Alright, I will put it on the list for 2027. And we'll have to put it on the CIP list. And actually, no, we don't,
No,
no,
because it's
because
a
we're not doing those
fund.
anymore. Okay,
We don't put funds on them.
So I think eliminating warrant articles is good.
yes, the less the better.
Yeah. So then at our next full meeting, we'll talk about the disability
Yes, we'll talk
credit
about
and
that.
the elderly exemption and the elderly exemption,
Correct.
review the amounts. And those two warrant articles do not have a direct tax impact because they're kind of hard to figure out. They do have a tax impact overall,
Right.
but
So we'll do that, we'll work on your recommendations and then ordering them on the warrant. Obviously, you wanna try to get your more conversation pieces towards the front of deliberative session while everybody's still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, not glazed over, so. Typically, they're just in the same format. Usually try to address your highway, larger ticket items towards the front, but if there is something that you think should be prioritize it, however.
Oh, for the list?
Yes, so as far as like the numbering, the order. So 1 through 9 will be as they are, but beyond that, we can put whatever forward.
I mean, I would just try to keep, if you can, department things close together, so like the fire stuff with the fire stuff, the police stuff with the police stuff. Building, and then do like, to me, it'd be like, then the technology, maybe even talk about the detail. All right, we're talking about all this, so, because sometimes people are like, wait, can I just read that, and they're flipping back and forth if it.
Don't the money ones have to come before the,
Yeah, typically they do.
so some of that you can't.
Yeah,
Just about everything's money.
But
you guys
like to your point, you're just saying if we move the current police technology
next to the
fund
thing,
ahead to follow the police
Yeah.
department relocation. And then
fire and
The
ambulance.
detail thing,
Right.
I think they are somewhat together, like you have your capital improvements and you have expendable trust fund and capital reserve additions, but to keep them department grouped. Could be different.
Sure, yeah, whatever.
We can hash that over on the 26th.
Yeah. Anything else?
Negative.
Negative.
I
I
would-
kept you here longer than your half an hour,
That's
so
all right.
thank you for sticking around.
I was good for 3. I would entertain a motion to adjourn our work session.
alright, I'll make a motion to adjourn our work session.
Good motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have a good evening, Nottingham.